Mi gente, you already know who it is. It's the radioactive pop with Danny Limelight, the United Wrestling Network World Heavyweight Champion. And make sure you tune into the Alliance blog every week. You heard it here first. Straight from Bobby.
They want NWA? Let's give them NWA.
Who are those guys?
And then there's the other guys.
We're the other guys. We're the guys nobody ever bets on.
The following program is intended for mature audiences.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show.
It's time for the Other Alliance Guys podcast with your hosts, Tim, Dave, and Jeremy.
Mean by God, Gene, and everybody else watching, welcome to another edition of the Other Alliance Guys podcast, a presentation of alliance-wrestling.com, your number one source for news and information around the National Wrestling Alliance, the United Wrestling Network, and various independents around the world. My name is Tim. I go by Alliance Gold, and I am joined by the greatest tag team in podcasting today. This is Dave. Scooby, how are you, sir?
Doing well.
Good. How about you, Jeremy? How are you, buddy?
I'm doing well.
Fantastic. Well, look, what are we talking about today? We're going to be talking about, well, you know what? It's Happy International Women's Day. I am a father of two girls, and I am an ally, I like to think, to women everywhere in business and in life. And so if you're out there and you're watching us or listening to the sound of our voices, a happy day to you. All the best. We got lots of people watching. Sound off in the chat. Let's see who's here. Baba Booey. It's Mike. How are you, buddy? It's good to see you. Willie has the first Fixers joke, or Fixers joke. Fixers on my mind because Fulton fixes the Fixers. The Tyrus joke of the day, Tyrus, the Fixers, and Coward Cardona are going to be a rock and roll band called the Hemorrhoids. Man, you are not making friends out there, Willie. Those guys are going to know you by name. We know who this is. Nice to hear from you. Put your grandchild on the screen again. Extremely cute. But listen, guys, we got a lot of stuff to talk about today. We'll go through NWA USA from March 4th, which was a relatively short show overall.
Yeah.
We got Jeremy's got Championship Wrestling from Jeremy. Dave's going to do some fantasy booking around the women's television title tournament and some thoughts around that. We'll do our round table, our round and pound table. Let's talk about that now, because like right before we went on the air, these two guys started dropping information bombs on me about stuff I know nothing about. I hear from you two guys that there is some legal action pending between the Now, one of my favorite tag teams from the NWA in this past season, and World Wrestling Entertainment. Is that right?
Yeah.
What's going on? Dave, tell me, you started off, Dave. And then you, Jeremy.
Well, the Now has been a tag team since I believe like 2005, 2006.
Mm-hmm.
And in either 2006 or 2007, depending on when the paperwork was done, they filed for their tag team name to be trademarked as the Now. And right now, or within the last few weeks to a month, there's a new Now in the WWE. So I don't know what the WWE is thinking, or if they are thinking, hey, let's just use a name and not even go online to check.
Yeah, I mean, that's not what a $9 billion company does, so I don't know how.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things that if you have an idea for let's say you're a new band. Oh, hey, I want to name my band Led Zeppelin. Let me type into the Google machine and see what comes up with Led Zeppelin. Well, It pops up. If you type in the now, it pops up.
James Bell's here. He says WWE doesn't seem to care. It might be because they're a $9 billion corporation that they don't care, right?
And that's just silly.
It might be silly, but it might just be any number of reasons. Like, you could tie it up in court if you wanted to for a long time. You could offer them a ridiculous amount of money that they probably couldn't turn down. I was watching a show. You brought up the band thing there, Dave, years ago. Family Jewels, Gene Simmons' Family Jewels, probably 10 years ago or something.
Well, trademarks everything.
Trademarks everything. He owns the trademark to that money bag.
The money bag, yep.
Logo. He, they had a scene. I'm sure it was scripted where they said, to his son, like, "What's the problem?" And his son's like, "There's another band called the Electric Chairs, right?" Which became Nick Simmons and the Electric Chairs, at his kid's band. And he's like, "Yeah, but did they trademark it?" And he told him a story like, when we got together, me and Paul Stanley, there was another band called Kiss, but we went and trademarked it. So I guess we'd have to know who actually owns the trademark for the now and what the geographic boundaries of that are as well, right?
With they do have it on the tweet that I read from Vic Delicious. They have had it trademarked since 2007. It has been theirs.
Fantastic.
And with the trademark, there are boundaries, there are limitations that you can take it. But being as the now is being used by the WWE, which is a wrestling company, and the now is trademarked by the tag team, there's no gray area that the WWE can use to try and circumvent that at all.
Yeah, so it's Austin Theory who's the now, right? Is that what they're calling him now in WWE?
Yeah.
We actually can't say that any legally that they're calling him that now. We have to say at this moment.
Right.
The now is trademarked. Mike says it's effing bullshit. NWA should have usage no matter what. I think it's probably Vic Delicious and Hale Collins who are one of them who owns that.
And I mean, it's whatever comes of it. But if I was the NWA, I would get a hold of the now and have them at the next tapings, whether or not they're winning or losing or even used. I'd have them there because I've seen links where it's billed as the now from the NWA because that was the last one that they were featured on TV,
right?
Or on a viewing platform.
Right.
So, I mean, it's one of those things of I'd bring those guys in and throw them in against another team. Even if they lose, feature them and push the hell out of the now here in the NWA. The original now.
Right.
And just have them push. It's the now. The OGs are here in NWA. They're going up against so-and-so for a chance at the U.S. tag belts.
I don't know who owns the rights to a number of different names, but you remember when we gave away that Four Horsemen pack 6 months ago that had all four of them on there? It was a Hall of Fame pack that I sent to Amy, I think her name was. She won it off of Twitter. I noticed on it that it said the Four Horsemen trademarked. Ric Flair, the Nature Boy, trademarked. Arn Anderson, trademarked. Tully Blanchard, trademarked. All four of them in there were trademark names. And when I read the package, the trademark logo was property of World Wrestling Entertainment. Mm-hmm. So if they owned all, and I think Arn Anderson actually has the trademark to the name the Four Horsemen, but if they trademarked all of those names, then maybe that there's all kinds of legal wranglings that they could do here, or might just be able to do here. I don't know. Mike is very vocal about this. He says there's proof for years on the net of them saying their name is the Now. Any lawyer can say it. And unless WWE trademarks it like a dick, but the NWA can fight it to the common usage of being out on the net a while and saying it for the team. Yeah, that's the loophole. The most important point that Mike makes, though, guys, this is the comment of the night. Scooby needs to smile more. He doesn't smile enough. Never smiles. They could call themselves the OG now. I kind of like that name slightly better, actually. That's pretty good.
Yeah, but then again, that's conceding a little bit. And again, this is a team that, like Dave said, has been together for well over 10 years now and has established themselves in the independent circuit.
Yeah, it's true. But I mean, the original Midnight Express weren't Dennis Condrey and Bobby Eaton.
Yeah.
I mean, and Cornette wasn't with them, I don't believe, when it was. You guys will know. Oh man, I'll look it up in a bit. But there was another team. Maybe Condrey was one of the original guys. James Bell is here.
Condrey and Rose.
What's that?
Condrey and Rose.
Yeah, Rose. But even before that, there was another guy. But you'll have it there. Great, Chris Silvio on the mic, pushing the Now. Yeah, leading the legal cause of the Now. That would be great. Every time I watch Chris Silvio, which is always a delight for me because I think he's the best, I keep thinking, get genocide on the savages, because I think he could go a long way to getting her over. Condrey and Rose. There's even another guy. There's an earlier guy before that, and I can't remember his name. Anyway, Hannah Ferguson. Natalia's watching, Jeremy's granddaughter. She says, "Hi, Papa. Just loving the shows and her guest star appearances." Hey, I do keep copies of all of these if you ever want to show her one day. Papa Tim and Dave. Oh, that's so nice. Oh, she's adorable. Thank you very much. What else? That's crazy. But Jeremy, you mentioned something just as as we were just going on the air.
Yeah.
Bring us in. WWE in talks with I assume New York State regulators or Connecticut regulators to do what? To legalize gambling around professional wrestling?
WWE has held discussions, according to CNBC. My wife dropped this scoop on me, by the way. According to CNBC, WWE has held discussions with state gambling regulators in Colorado and Michigan to legalize betting on scripted match results. WWE is working with EY, commonly known as Ernst & Young, to secure match results so they don't leak to the public. Creative executives don't plan to inform wrestlers who will win until hours before a match. And the WWE aims to have major sports betting companies offer bets on high-profile matches.
That's crazy.
Isn't that weird? What happens if it gets changed in the ring?
That's the thing.
You hear stories sometimes, and I don't even know if this particular one's true, but as an example, The Rock and Hogan in Toronto at WrestleMania, Toronto, being from Toronto, it's a Hogan town. He came out, I think, heel, and it wasn't going to happen, right?
Yeah.
And The Rock was your face, and he was getting booed. And as I understand it, they switched the ending.
Yeah.
So what happens then, I wonder? That is crazy.
It sounds completely asinine to me.
What do you think, Dave?
I don't know. I'm trying to comprehend it because in my head I'm like, okay, everything else it's sports entertainment. Everything else is sports granted, I mean, any sport can be fixed, but wrestling is.
Yeah.
You know it. I mean,
Yeah.
unless they're like going to change wrestling and just go, okay, ding, 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 may the better man win, may the better woman win, may the better wrestler win, whatever.
Right.
However they decide to do it, to me, it just seems, I mean, it's not a movie, but it is.
Right.
It's scripted.
Well, Ernst and Young is massive, but how do you even keep that quiet?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
You can't. And not only that, they're saying that they won't tell either opponent until a few hours before the match. That's still a few hours that you've got for that to leak out.
Yeah, I use a couple of those companies in my work life, and actually just this week we had a confidential document that like there's 4 people in my company are supposed to see, and I'm talking to my client about something else, and he minimizes his screen, and my report, which is protected by one of those E&Y, no, it wasn't E&Y, but
Right.
by one of those companies, is on his screen.
Yeah.
Before, like, he shouldn't have it, and I just. So I don't know how you do that. I think that sounds crazy. I think asine's the right word, but anything to make money, right?
And that seems to be more than likely just what it is. I think that they are trying to find reasons to justify that $9 billion price point that Vince McMahon has tacked on to it.
Right.
I was listening to the Kevin Nash podcast the other day, and he made a great statement about how you put a $7 million price tag on a $2.5 million house, essentially, because you don't want to sell it. But if somebody comes up to you with $7 million, you'll sell it.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy. Well, I mean, so we started off our NWA UWN podcast talking about WWE versus the Now. WWE with their plans to get into the gambling market. I know we've kind of talking about the World as a Vampire Festival, but Jay's kind of covering that. He was there, and I'm sure we'll hear more about it last night as we did last night. Let's talk about Power for a sec. And of course the Alliance guys tomorrow night will be looking at Power, but a bunch of new faces appeared on Power.
Yeah.
You had Dante Smiley, who terrible name, but who looked like in fantastic shape. I don't know anything about the guy. Daisy Kill and what was her name? Oh God. The one who fought Camille. God, I'll look it up. But I thought she was good too.
D'Ambrose.
Not Ashley D'Ambrose. The one who fought Camille on Power last night. It's a professional podcast, but we can look it up. But at the same time, we also had 7'4" Beast Mode and Dodi Kusamanto in the Discord. If you want to get into the Alliance Blog Discord, just drop one of us a line or Jay Cal a line, and we'll get you in. It's lots of good information and chat going on all the time in there. He's a former, I believe, Puerto Rican basketball player. And like they start off that show with this guy towering above Trevor Murdoch.
Right.
Hey, there's Dodi there. Dante Smiley has made EC3 look good when EC3 usually is worse than Tyrus. Well, I mean, come on, Dodi. Hey, that's not accurate, but I know you're not a EC3 fan, and that's all good. But he did make him look good, and I guess that was the job. And I didn't think beast mode was the greatest thing since sliced bread, but at 7'4" and just like your screen comes up cold open, and Trevor Murdoch, who's got to be 6'4", is standing looking up at this guy.
And he had like that predator looking mask on with the.
Yeah.
That was an imposing figure for sure.
It was a great first shot for me. What'd you think, Dave?
I was surprised to see it. I had seen that there was a large gentleman at the tapings, and I'm like, well, whoever that guy is, they need to either make him or break him. And I'm not sure where they're going, but I've heard through the grapevine that he is either one and done or maybe two and done.
Oh, that's a shame.
Oh, okay.
That he more or less didn't click with people behind the scenes. And
that's
I mean,
a shame.
It's one of those things that size isn't everything. It's how you use it.
Yeah.
Right.
And I mean, if you have somebody that's been in the business even 5 years and you've been in 2, listen to the person who's been in there longer. Listen, you don't have to do what they tell you, but at least listen and acknowledge.
Yeah.
Right. And Doty's speaking what you're saying right now. For better or for worse, beast mode more or less won't last long. There's been a problem backstage. So that's a shame, because what an attraction that could have been.
Yeah.
I mean, you sometimes see guys like the Great Cali who are they're just the shits, but he didn't look like the shits to me.
I don't know how long he's actually been wrestling, but I mean, if you could use him as a Diesel type character, put him with somebody who is a good wrestler but a chicken shit, he would have been a great bodyguard for Carino. Find somebody like Carino and have this guy, you look up at him, give him the thumbs up, and I mean, he doesn't have to do much. He can learn while working.
Yeah.
But if he's a bodyguard and not really a wrestler, give him time to work in whatever area he lives in when the NWA isn't filming or taping or having an event. But I mean, anybody over the size of 7 foot, that's a monster. You don't see that much anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, attractions are not, your point, attractions are not, very frequent. So, that's too bad. But I imagine even if he had, worked out, they're probably at 7 foot. I think he's 7'3.5" when I looked him up. I think he'd been wrestling about 3 or 4 years. He probably wouldn't stay too long, regardless. You got to think he'd be picked up somewhere. Oh, there you go. James says Beast Mode's been wrestling since 2019 or 2020. Cody points out that most giants usually suck, from El Gigante to Cali to, Tyrus. But Big Body always have a plus on its own, but sucks.
Still sucks.
Yes. Sucks is sucks. It's true. Hey, listen, before we move on to the NWA USA, the meat and potatoes of the NWA this week, here's a picture that Dave Scooby brought to my attention shortly before the show. I guess congratulations are in order to Psycho Love. Angelina Love and Psycho Boy Fodder appear to be at least engaged, if not something more. So that's nice. It's nice for them. What did you say? What was your comment, Jeremy? Or do you want to keep it to yourself?
I wish you all the best and your future endeavors.
And your future endeavors, yes.
I anything that I put in a Discord chat between anybody, I will more than happily say out in public. I am not shy about anything. I said it. I'll stand right next to it and hold it up. Attaboy.
Hey, Willie points out Giant Baba was a former NWA World Heavyweight Champion 3 times, in fact.
Yes.
All 3 of his reigns together combined, 19 days as champion. It wasn't about longevity with Bobby. It was just about the legitimacy that the title gave him, just like a Tommy Rich moment, you know?
Yeah.
Brushing up against him with that bad boy over there, and what he got out of that was it. Willie does not like Psycho Love. Well, you know, hey, you're living the gimmick, brother. If NWA want a big guy who doesn't suck, bringing Cyrus the Destroyer. Jody's talked about a couple of people that we're not too familiar with, but in the past. But hey, we seem to be seeing new faces, so anything is really possible. I want to mention.
Nice to see. It really was.
Yeah. I want to mention that a couple of us, a few of us, J. Cal and Dave Scooby and myself and Rick Del Santo and Jaden are going to be at a Dog Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators event, not card, event. And I will never get that wrong again now. On March 25th of this month. There's 2 matches that have been signed for that. Eric Martin looks to get revenge against Chris Steeler for costing him the Dog Championship. And Busky looks to take away Steeler's WWGP Championship as payback. Plus, new Dog Champion Justin Adams defends against Ty Thomas in a rematch. Ty defeated him before. Can he do it again? We're going to find out. It looks like an amazing event. Looking at the YouTube channel for Dog, which is youtube.com/Dog Wrestling. Hey, this is a company that just had Wrecking Ball Legursky appear on the show at their Rowan University event, and there's a big crowd. Everybody's into it. Looks like a lot of fun. Can't wait myself to go, and you know, hopefully we'll broadcast something live there if we're allowed to do that, but I haven't asked at the at this particular time. And I also want to just run one thing. Hey, since Rick Del Santo is a guy that we're going to be seeing over there, I want you to check out Pro WrestleZone. Watch this for a couple seconds.
PWZ Podcast with Rick Del Santo. For all your wrestling reviews, interviews, and news, Rick covers the United Wrestling Network, the NWA, and the Northeast region of the United States independent scene. PWZ keeps you in the zone.
Rick's definitely a friend of the Alliance. Had an interview with J. Cal not even a couple months ago. I don't think it's even that old yet, but he's got so many interviews all the time. Just drop over there and see him. It seems like there's 1 or 2 a week. He's really prolific with what he does. And it's a great watch. It's a great listen. Let's talk about NWA USA from Saturday, March 4th. This was it was an interesting show. Let's just go right into it. It's a cold open with Bobby Fulton out, and he's introduces his mystery tag team, and it is the tag team of Chris Adonis and Rhett Titus. Ooh. And they're here to fix the Fixers, as the episode is called. Fulton fixes the Fixers. The rules of this match are that the Fixers, who are in the ring, must give up their version of their now defunct version of the U.S. tag team titles that they stole from the Country Gentlemen if they lose this match. Fulton's determined to, as a former U.S. tag team champion himself, to restore the honor to that title. He went and got a couple of really solid, wrestlers to do it. So as they get in the ring, the Fixers jump Team Fulton, and they kind of isolate Rhett Titus right off the bat for a great part of this match. They're taking turns smashing him down and really using there's an abdomen claw that takes up a fair bit of time on this match as well. They kind of suggest, Galley suggests maybe there's an injury to Titus on that rib cage area. I did like one thing halfway through the match, guys, is where the Jay Bradley just comes in when, to tag in, and there's no tag. And the ref's like, nope, get it back out. And he's like, you can see him go, for fuck's sake, right? He gets out, tags back in. Hey, I love it. I love it. It's so good to see. But there's an abdominal stretch by Jay. There's a bear hug by Legursky. There's constant tags in and out by the Fixers. It's good tag team formulas going on here. Two big, strong guys just crushing a guy who's a lot smaller. Adonis has to break up a pin. There's about 5 full minutes of beating on Rhett Titus in this match. He really gets very little offense to this point. He finally tags Adonis. I clocked it around the 8-minute mark. Mm-hmm. There's a shoulder block or two, and then there's an attempted slam onto Wrecking Ball that doesn't go anywhere. But Adonis ends up moving to avoid the falling headbutt by Legursky. There's a drop kick at the end of this thing by Rhett Titus into the master lock, and Wrecking Ball Legursky taps, which I thought was great myself, because I didn't think he lost anything by doing so in a tag match. We finally get someone tapping after a while to the master lock. So the Fixers have to give up the belts. And, Adonis and Titus leave the ring immediately. The Fixers come into the ring, hand over the titles to Fulton. They ask to take a picture with him and the belts. And as someone's taking that photo, yoinks, they snatch him and they flee. And I just went, okay. What did you think, Dave? What did you think of this one?
I mean, overall, it was good, except for the ending. I mean, just let it go. You don't need 2 sets of belts. It's idiotic. I don't know what they're trying to do storyline-wise. Just build the Fixers back up.
Yeah.
If you're not going to build them back up, use them to build up another team, and they can lose wonky. That they go for a move and they miss, and they Three Stooge it, and they conk heads, and one of the Fixers gets pinned.
Right.
You use them in a good way, and let the title belts tell the story, not the fake ones.
Right. And, along those lines, Jeremy, I don't want realism in pro wrestling. I want plausibility.
Right.
And plausibility to me would be Billy comes out and goes, all right, you two, give me the belts or you're fired. I know that there are reasons and plot points and MacGuffins, as they're called, for feuds that you have to have. This is a dumb one. Anyway, what did you think of the match, and why is it still going on?
The match overall, I'm with Dave on this. I really enjoyed it. Anytime you get to see Rhett Titus wrestle, that's a good match, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, come on. But I like the style that they wrestled in the match, focusing in on Titus. He is the younger of the two, I believe, and probably at this point the bigger threat, I would say, as from a technical aspect and everything, because the man has a giant toolbox,
right?
So I really enjoyed that aspect of it. Them getting the belts back was obvious. I felt it coming. They have belts. For the Fixers, it's the Fixers, guys. They have belts. They don't care that they're illegitimate and they're not. They have belts. The Fixers have belts. They have title belts. So in their mind's eye, they're still champs. And for their characters that they've been, it works. It fits the characters. But please stop.
Yeah.
I mean, It doesn't make any. It just because it makes kind of sense doesn't mean it makes sense. It just needs to. It just needs to stop now.
Yeah, I agree. Some things don't work, and we're laughing because James says, seriously, Mr. Bobby Fulton moves faster than Tyrus. And Willie responds with, Tyrus can move fast when there's a buffet table full of food. Just laying into Tyrus, just Macho Man elbow onto Tyrus from you guys out there. But Doty points out a good match to heat up Chris to challenge for the world title, and we need more of this. We need more Chris Adonis before NWA 312.
Well, and think about it this way. Him getting in the master lock on Legursky and Tyrus are of similar build.
Right.
So by him being able to get in the master lock, even with a little bit of help, he knows he can get it in on a big guy. He just needs a little bit of help. So a turnbuckle could be that help this time instead of Rhett Titus. So
that's true. You know, the thing about Chris Adonis for me, guys, and I like Chris Adonis, and he's you know, I'd be fine with him as NWA World Champion. He's the most laid back personality, like in the ring. I mean, I don't know. I've never met the man. He's so like, hey, how you doing? Oh, that was a good one. All right. I see what you're doing in the ring. I need him to go into the ring for a couple of matches before 312 and like snag someone up in the master lock and look at the camera and go, this is you, and just destroy someone with the master lock.
Like Chris Masters was.
Right. And just
that intensity that he had, and just Yeah,
I need some aggression out of Chris Masters. Yeah. But yeah, certainly more of them. This was a relatively short show, but we had Max the Impaler up next against Natalia Markova in a women's TV title tournament match. This was obviously a rematch between the two. I think we have a guest host. This just
we do. For the women's match. We've got a guest host, guest co-host for the women's match.
Nice. She's happy to be here. She's like, maybe not. Oh, she's happy. There you go.
There we go.
Hello, sweetheart.
There you are.
Hello.
See Tim waving at you.
All right. I love little people, so I could be here all night. So in the start of this one, Natalia just attacks Max, trying to get her off her feet, but Max throws her off. There's an attempt at a sleeper by Natalia. Max kind of squashes her in the corner and throws her down. You know, she's smashing Markova. She gives her a pretty kind of neat belly buster. But Markova kind of counters with this drop toe hold that sends Max down for the first time. And Natalia's strangling Max on the ropes. I think I said her. I should have said them. Max ends up responding shortly thereafter with a clothesline and holding her there and kind of licking her face in this, like, you know, my kill will taste good in a moment kind of idea. She's cutting off the air supply to Natalia. She lifts her in a sleeper. And Markova responds with her traditional kicks. She takes Max down, but she's tripped up by Father James Mitchell. And Max kind of slams her down, only gets a 2 count. She does the turnbuckle stomping bit. There's another kick out. Markova ends up recovering near the end of this with some spinning kicks, a big knee, 2 beautiful destructions in a row. She looks like she's going to finally take it to the Warrior of the Wasteland, and she just loses it. She starts choking Max, like she's just had enough Max, and choking her on the ropes, and just our referee Wheeler's like, you got to get off her, and he's counting. She won't get off of Max, and he throws it out. After the bell, Max ends up clotheslining Natalia down and kind of bailing out with Father James Mitchell. So even though she gets this bit of revenge, and she's kind of showing a different side. She's kind of hit to the mat, and CJ comes out all by herself, no Magic Jake, Jeremy, and she does her presentation over the body of Natalia Markova. I found that odd. What did you think that this means?
Love to see it. I'm hoping that it means that we get to see CJ in the ring across from Markova in the near future, or across from anyone in the NWA, male or female. At that point, that would be an intergender match that I would be okay with, because she can go.
Right.
She can flat go. And I was quite excited for her to come out. That was a good deal. The match overall, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the style that Max wrestled in the match. I went back and watched it 3 times though, and there's no unearthly way that Scott Wheeler did not see Father James Mitchell grab Natalia's ankle. He was looking directly at it. I didn't care for that. And then the 5 count DQ, that was a sucky ending. I didn't care for that. But overall, the match was great.
Yeah. I was sort of a strange ending for me, Dave, in the sense that, like, she's kick. Max is teetering. Beautiful destruction. Another one. And then she loses it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know about you guys, but like, Dave, you ever been on the goal line maybe in a sports thing and just lost it and gotten yourself DQ'd? It seemed like a bit of a weird ending, but what did you think of it? It
keeps Markova strong in that she basically lost it on Max, and that it ended in a DQ. It kept them on a level playing field, wrestling wise, or even if it's not wrestling wise, just beating the hell out of each other.
Yeah.
It keeps them both strong. Plus, with CJ coming out, that keeps the mixed tag story going. I'd like to see CJ wrestle, but if Markova is going to wrestle and actually fight like she was against Max, that's a different character for her now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're either building up mixed tags, which they don't need a title, but it gets more characters and more wrestlers involved in storyline wise. But also, whoever wins the TV title, the women's TV title, you already have Markova. Whether she's lost the last couple of matches, she's a strong contender. With 1 or 2 more matches, she's back in looking to go after that title.
Yeah.
So, the match showed that anything can happen. And I like that they're sort of interweaving several storylines and several characters and wrestlers all in one match.
Yeah, it was good. And like that level of aggression that we're looking for out of Adonis, maybe we just saw it in Natalia Markova.
Oh, yeah.
Just a couple more matches like that. I don't want to miss Willie's comment from when we were talking about Kratos and Chris Adonis and Dak Draper need to be in championship type matches. These are the kind of guys that I think, like, some hard hitting guys, some guys that look real and legit, are the kind of guys I also would like to see. Mike has some two good things about Markova's match are her gimmicks. That's both of them. He agrees, Jer. That Wheeler did see that trip by James Mitchell, and they could have edited that out. But anyway, that is what it is, and I guess we'll see if CJ is coming back to action then. But we get May Valentine with Mike Knox in the only segment of that isn't wrestling on this show. And she asked Mike, kind of what happened with you and Cardona, like that you freaked out and put him through a table. And he says basically that he remembered who he was. Cardona had told him, kind of sold him a bill of goods that they were going to save the NWA, and it just never happened. He had this big army, and Mike says he looked around. There's no VSK. There's no Brian Myers. The internet armies aren't real, Matt, is what he says. And whereas he himself is like, after matches, he goes out and meets fans, and he's built his own army, and he makes friends everywhere he goes, he tells us, as he tries to complete his face turn. Whereas Matt's army is fake and his is real. He also says, Matt, you're too much. You're too much to be around. You also don't pay bar bills, and you don't pay fines, and that was the deal. So
that was the deal, brother.
That was the deal, brother. When you signed me up, you're going to pay my fines and my bar bill. That's what I get paid, and you didn't do that. So best of luck with Bubba Ray. And then he turns to May and he says, "Look, May, also, before I go, because it's a bit of a weird segment. My wife said I was really insensitive to you after your wedding when I gave you that 'I'll be your friend' comment, and I'm sorry, and I want to be friends." And she says, "Thank you for your apology, and we can be friends." And they hug. And I kind of went, wow, that took a strange turn. Dave, what did you think of this segment in the Mike Knox heel turn?
It was very strange seeing Knox as a face.
Right.
I don't think he's ever really been a face. His WWF, WWE run, definitely not. And then, he was doing the Aces and Eights in Impact. Mm-hmm. And I'm not sure if he'll come back and apologize and basically try to refriend Bully. But it's going to be strange seeing him as a face if he is indeed becoming a face. I'm not sure if he's a big guy. He could go singles, or you could possibly find somebody to tag him up, and then you have another decent team possibly going after the belts, or at least working their way into a title shot against La Rebellion.
Yeah, I think that, is a good idea. Mike says, is all this happening with Cardona due to his time at the NWA being up? Is he leaving the NWA so he's dissolving the family? I don't know. What do you think, Jeremy?
Well, if Matt Cardona's idea of an army was Mike Knox, Brian Myers, VSK, and him, that's not a good sign, first of all.
VSK is the best out of that group for me, but anyway, carry on.
Well, and what happened to those guys? Where are they now? They just kind of disappeared.
Yeah.
But the whole segment was odd. At one point, I think Knox alluded to his wife hasn't been feeding him since he made that comment to May.
Did he? I didn't hear that one.
He made something so I can come home now and have a meal. So that's a big boy. He's been getting food from somewhere. He's been eating plates at somebody's house.
Yeah.
But it was an interesting segment. It was a little weird, but it gave Mike Knox a little bit of character there at the end. I thought that was more interesting than the first part of it because, again, Brian Myers and VSK as part of an army. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. And Mike agrees that it was odd. Why do this now? And in that segment with Bully Ray, the only send-off is a match, Bully versus Matt. Matt loses and he's gone, and there you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
And maybe I don't know. Maybe that's your team of Bully and Mike. I don't know. We'll see. I did hear some rumblings that Brother Devon is maybe not too far away for a short period of time, but I know nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, the last match of NWA USA, and last segment, we is Chris Silvio. My name is Chris Silvio Esquire, with Blake Bulletproof Troop and Jack Stain, the Savages, versus the Ill Begotten, Jeremiah Plunkett and Alex Taylor. And the winners are going to get a shot at the U.S. Tag Team titles. And I thought, already? Like, they just said, we want a shot. So they're like, okay, the winners of this will get a shot.
Yeah.
Dane kind of starts off, but tags in Troop, and there's a shoulder tackle exchange, but Taylor trips Troop down. He tags in Plunky for a flying elbow. There's a double kick, a drop kick double team in the corner. Plunkett does this cool thing that you should always do to barefoot wrestlers, where he stomps on his foot.
Yeah. Yep.
There's a tag and a double side Russian leg sweep. Listen, for this match, and the Ill Begotten, who have had an enhancement talent role in the NWA really for some time, they look really strong against two guys that are destined for greater things. Dane gets involved in the match. There's a Troop ends up giving a gut wrench suplex, but when Dane is tagged in, he basically smashes Taylor. He gives him a Samoan drop. There's a release belly to belly. Troop is rough around the edges. His forearms are strikes and whatnot are bad. They don't look good. But he's learning, and for me, like, Dane really makes him look much more legit. There's some double team by Savages. Dane stomps out Plunkett when he interferes in the match. Alex finally gets tagged. I can't even read my own writing. Look at that. He ends up taking out Dane with some jabs and some elbows. It's Plunkett, I guess. That's what I meant to write there. He picks him up and he calls for Taylor, who's not ready. And Dane ends up, eventually just popping the trunk on him. Troop is tagged in, and Troop makes Plunkett tap in kind of a rolling figure four that I'm not familiar with. We got there eventually to the ending we all thought was coming. What did you think, Jeremy?
I was impressed with how little size that Taylor actually gave up whenever him and Troop got next to each other. Size-wise, Taylor looked as big as Troop, just not in height.
Right.
There was a height difference, but size-wise, that was a good matchup as far as build-wise. And I liked how Galley sold Plunkett and Dane's history outside of the NWA. And for a few seconds there, I thought that the Ill Begotten boys could have won it.
Yeah.
They really let them look strong in it, which was kind of confusing.
It was. Like we say, we got there eventually, but it seemed like, to your point, that the Ill Begotten might have gotten more out of this than they did, but
they came out looking stronger to me than Dane and Troop did, honestly.
What did you think, Dave? Did you agree with that?
I do agree with it. I'm not saying that Troop needs work. They just need to figure out how to book him in these matches, where he goes in, does a couple moves, does his MMA move, and do a quick tag out.
Right.
Don't leave him in there, because even if you're in there with Jeremiah Plunkett, who could lead a broom to a good match,
Yeah.
having somebody help you along is good, but you have to make it look believable.
Yeah. Yeah.
And with this tag team, they need to have him go in, do the ground and pound, do one or two MMA inspired moves,
Yeah.
and do a quick tag out while he has that person wrapped up in some kind of MMA hold. And they may do a 5 count, he breaks, and as he breaks on that last count, tags Dane in. They use his MMA work to a minimum and have him more or less become a wrestler, not an MMA fighter, but a wrestler.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's one of those things that you don't want the whole match planned out, but you may want to say, okay, you're going to be in there for 1.5 to 2 minutes. You need to do 1, 2, and 3. On that third thing, lock up that person and tag me.
Right. And I do think right now it's a good idea, him being that MMA fighter. I love his shorts, by the way, with the sponsorship looking stuff on it.
Yeah.
I like how he gets in and he'll throw someone down and he'll be on top for that ground and pound. Even it just doesn't look good right now.
Right.
But I feel like that's the kind of stuff he should do right before that quick tag, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
I agree. He's got a ways to go. So, I was like a week or two ago, like, why are these guys U.S. tag team title like material? These guys are like world title. No, they are U.S. tag team material right now. Hey, Mike's got a few comments. By the way, his soup was really good. You're very welcome for the recommendation.
I saw you had egg drop soup. That sounds fire.
Yeah. Okay, NWA, listen, stop billing Dane as over 6'4". He isn't. Troop is legit 6'4" and is taller than Dane. I've stood head to head with Dane at plenty of events. Dane's 6'2". Yeah, but he's billed at 6'4". That's the billing stuff, right? He's also billed at 300 pounds. It's like 285, right? That's like you can see it, but no, but your point is taken. It's just questionable commentary. He goes on to say, people even say in the NWA chat, when show live, Troop is taller than Dane and Troop is listed at 6'4". People look at that online shit. Mike also says what Scooby said is fine, and yes, do that in aspects. Do not do 55-45. Oh, 55-45 booking. It made both Troop and Dane look effing weak. Yeah, or not as strong as they could have been in going into their fight with the country gentleman. Not a bad NWA USA all around this week, guys. Short. The whole thing was like 35 minutes long. Our friend Dodi Cusamanto has said recently it should be an hour.
Yeah.
And looking at Power, which the OG Alliance guys are going to do tomorrow, I kind of wondered, is that show turning into USA now with debuts all throughout Power and, Jack Stain on USA? And I guess we'll have to see.
I went back and looked at the timestamps on the first 3 episodes of this season, and they were all 3 almost an hour long. They were over 50 minutes long. These last 3 episodes, the 4th episode, I believe, was just over 40 minutes, and then the last ones have been under 35, or right at around 35.
Yeah.
So
when's the next pay-per-view? When's 3/12?
It's April 7th.
Yeah.
So we got a month ago. So I guess they're trying to give us dole it out, stretch it out. Billy, you can see Billy in the back.
Well, I mean, he could have just given us the first episode of Power and then split the wedding into an episode.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Nope.
No.
We don't want the wedding as an episode. Take that back immediately.
I take it back immediately.
Let's talk about the United Wrestling Network in a segment we like to call, oh, wait, I got something for this now. We like to call Championship Wrestling from Jeremy.
I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
The following is a presentation of the United Wrestling Network.
It's time for Championship Wrestling from Jeremy.
Oh, that is sweet. Sweet.
Right.
Nice name.
Scooby.
There you go. We actually had that a week or two ago, and I forgot all about it because I suck at this. Over to you, my friend.
We start off with Memphis Wrestling Super Bout 2 Part 2, and we've got commentary with Terrence Ward and Dustin Starr. The first match was Big Swole Justin Cole versus Bulletproof Bruce. I wasn't paying attention to much of this match. It was over pretty quickly. Big Swole won with the Big Swole Slam. But after the match, Dustin notes that Big Swole has been with Memphis since day one, and this seems to be a running theme throughout the show, acknowledging who's been with them since the start. But he says that he's been with Memphis since day one, and the crowd still chants "Swole, Swole, Swole" for him. And he responds by saying that the championship committee needs to keep lining up competitors for him.
Yeah.
So maybe we will get to see a championship run from Big Swole in the next coming months. We then get Dustin with Hollywood Jimmy Blaylock, Van Vicious, Jason Vane, and Secret Service. Jimmy read some comments that he found on the Memphis Wrestling Facebook page. Hilarious. He was not too happy about those comments. Van Vicious says he's going to crush Colton Cage's face in the match that they have coming up, and that one was next. Colton starts out hot and gets the upper hand immediately over Van Vicious, if only short-lived, as Van delivers a blatant low blow in front of the ref, which causes a disqualification. Jason Vane proceeds to get in the ring and lay a beating on Colton. Secret Service mug him and steal his sunglasses and coat, and then they just kind of leave him laying in the middle of the ring, just laying there. But he's over with the crowd. The crowd loves him already. His face turn was completed the moment he dropped off the ring apron. So
yeah,
he's still strong with them. We then get a backstage segment, and I believe it was Jessica Justice. And she opened up her luggage and found a pamphlet for Reverend Ash's church asking if she's on the right path. We then get a video package of Austin Lane from 3 weeks ago addressing his upcoming match against Tim Bosby. Austin comes out and talks to Dustin, says he wants to thank Dustin for being there, or thank Austin for being there. Memphis Wrestling since day one, and Austin thanks the fans. Austin then lists his accomplishments in Memphis Wrestling and says he's going to be the next Memphis Internet Champion. And we go to that match. And the match starts off with some good technical wrestling. Austin taunts Bosby after getting a front face lock on him and holding it for a minute. This causes Bosby to pie face Lane, and he charges at Bosby, and Bosby pushes him through the ropes. Austin lands awkwardly on his left ankle. Bosby goes to the outside and goes for a power bomb on the commentary table, but Austin's able to get out of it. He then he gets him up again for a power bomb, but this time he's going to power bomb Austin onto the floor, which Austin is again able to get out of. And then Bosby then goes for a German suplex off the apron onto the floor, but again Austin is able to get out. Bosby goes for a power bomb again off of the apron, and Austin reverses it into a Hurricane Rana. And then goes to a commercial break, and when we come back, Bosby and Lane have still yet to get back into the ring. which I thought was weird. By this point, they definitely both should have been counted out.
Yeah, I thought the same thing.
Bosby's able to get Austin up in a powerbomb position again, and this time slams him into the Kapow sign on the wall, and then another powerbomb onto the ring apron. But then he takes just a little too long in going for a cover, a drop in his shoulder straps and taunting some of the members of the crowd. And Lane is able to hit a spear followed up by a kick to the chin. A little sweet chin music there, but not a sweet chin music super kick. But Austin goes up to the second rope, and as he jumps off of it, Bosby ducks out of the way, and Lane lands on his left ankle awkwardly again. Bosby immediately goes for an ankle lock. He's unable to hold it, though, as Lane sends him face first into the second turnbuckle. Lane then goes up to the top rope, and Bosby gets up and is able to knock him off balance and hit the family jewels on the top turnbuckle and then fall into the tree of woe.
Mm-hmm.
Bosby sits down and proceeds to slap Lane a little bit in the face and taunt him, and then delivers a baseball slide kick. As Bosby goes for the cover, he's only able to get a 1 count, though. Lane is able to deliver a big boot followed up with a big knee to the chin, but couldn't avoid the ripcord lariat, and then Bosby delivers another ripcord lariat and goes for a pin, but Lane gets his foot on the rope at 2. Bosby rips Lane's left shoe off and locks in the ankle lock. Lane almost gets to the ropes, but Bosby drags him back in the middle of the ring and drops to the ground and wraps him up around the leg, and Lane immediately taps out. Austin goes for a handshake after the match, but Bosby turns him down and gets out of the ring, walks off, and just kind of, I'm done with you. There's another backstage segment with Ray Collins, and he's throwing his Hot Shots uniform into the trash, and he finds a pamphlet from the Reverend Ash Taylor, wondering if he's on the right path as well. So we may have some new baptisms into the Church of Ash, I guess, or Ass, or fake ass preacher.
Yeah.
We then get Dustin Starr with Uncle Mikey. Dustin asks where his cousin is, and Uncle Mikey says he wasn't sure if they were ready to meet him yet. And then asks the crowd if they're ready to meet his cousin. They say yes, so he goes to get him. And out comes Bushwhacker Luke. And I popped so big.
Yeah.
I kind of felt that's what it was going towards, but yeah, I was happy for it.
Yeah.
We then go to the match, but the main event match, which is Uncle Luke and Uncle Mikey versus main event Bradley and Uncle Landfill. The match starts off with Uncle Mikey and Uncle Landfill, and they have a good amount of back and forth before Uncle Phil tags in Bradley. The crowd starts chanting for Uncle Luke, so Mikey tags him in. Then they go to a commercial break. When we come back from the commercial break, Uncle Luke has main event Bradley down in the corner and delivers a bum rush, and then brings in Uncle Mikey, who hits a Bronco Buster. But about midway through, Uncle Luke stops Mikey and tells him to hang on, and then starts to undo his pants, and then pulls his singlet all up in the crack and sets himself up and hits a very thankfully pixelated stink face.
Yeah, it was pretty graphic.
Yeah. Mikey hits Bradley with a back body drop and some chops to the chest. As Mikey goes to Irish whip Bradley into the ropes, Bradley reverses it and sends Mikey into an Uncle Phil kick into the middle of the spine. Bradley hits some stomps and then tags in Uncle Phil. Uncle Phil delivers some clubbing blows before tagging back in Bradley. Bradley climbs to the top turnbuckle and lands a double axe handle and follows that up with a rear naked chokehold. And then Uncle Mikey almost makes a tag, but Uncle Phil stops it, and Bradley goes for a pin, but only gets a 2 count. Bradley tags Uncle Phil back in. Uncle Phil starts wrenching on Mikey's head. Then Mikey's able to get free and hit gator feet. And this makes this allows Uncle Mikey to tag in Uncle Luke. Luke hits a stunner on Bradley and goes for a pin, but Uncle Phil breaks that up. And then Uncle Mikey gets in and hits a knee on Uncle Phil and then makes the cover. And for some reason, the refs started counting at this point, which again confused me. And let's see.
Yeah, it was a bit of a cluster, you know what?
Yeah, and then Phil and Bradley set up to do a battering ram with Mikey and Luke, but Mikey and Luke reverse it. Uncle Luke then uses Uncle Mikey as a battering ram on Bradley. Uncle Mikey goes for a move, but then Bradley starts to reverse it, and Uncle Luke delivers a stunner to Bradley, which allows Uncle Mikey to land a Canadian Destroyer for the win.
Yeah. It was a slog to get through.
It was. It was good though. I was a huge Bushwhackers fan as a kid, so getting to see Uncle Luke out there, you know, Bushwhacker Luke was fun.
And they do this stuff, right? Like months ago, I remember you saying, it's like, you know, hey, look, it's Gangrel. He does this one, and the match is terrible. You get to see the person.
Chavo Guerrero's popped up, you know, Nick Aldis and Jonathan Gresham have popped up. They just, every once in a while, you'll just get this nice little pleasant surprise from them.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, I love what they're doing. It's a lot of fun. And we then go to Championship Wrestling presented by Car Shield.
Before you get into that, sorry, Mike just said, Luke's still wrestling, though questionably at 82. I think Wikipedia says he's 76.
Yeah.
But, I mean, hey, look, the fact that he's moving at all with all the bumps that the sheep herders or bushwhackers took in their life, good for him, man. Anyway.
A lot of bumps.
Yeah. Carry on.
Our opening match for Championship Wrestling by Car Shield is Invictus Cash versus Cameron Gates. Invictus goes for a handshake, but Gates pulls the whole psych move on him. As Invictus turns around, Gates, rightfully so, hits him with a forearm to the back, which was smart because he was way outsized in this match. Gates kept the pressure on by applying a head wrench to Cash, but Cash is able to power out and get back to his feet and starts delivering clubbing shots to the face of Gates. Gates attempts an Irish whip on Cash into the ropes. On the bounce back, though, Cash stops and drives Gates' face into his knee, then whips him off the ropes and catches him with the scoop slam. Cash then locks on the Fujiwara armbar and causes the tap for the win. After the match, Invictus says that the embassy led him astray and then stabbed him in the back and left him for dead. He's a new man now and a new wrestler. He'll be the world champion, and he'll do it all by himself. And that's another one that the crowd is just completely behind. As soon as he started going after Clearwater, the crowd was instantly behind him. We then get a segment with Megan Harmon and the new television champion Jack Banning with the Institution's Honest John and Brendan Devine. Banning says the TV title is the key to the future of the institution. So some words coming, some more people are coming to the institution, and then maybe it's time that Brandon Devine and Honest John become tag champions. Welcome to the institution. and I'm here for it. I love these guys. They're just I love what Jack Banning is doing, and
it's fun.
It's a lot of fun. We then get Johnny Robbie versus Alex Gracia. As the match starts, Gracia is able to faceplant Robbie to the mat. Robbie quickly hops up and try it again, princess.
Yeah.
From there was a good amount of back and forth between the two, with neither really maintaining control for too long. Gracia was able to get a backstabber and followed up with a big boot to the face, and it looked like Robbie was out cold, but she kicked out whenever Gracia went for the cover at 2. Robbie goes for the rule breaker, but Gracia catches her and goes for the cover. She only gets a 2 as the ref sees her feet on the ropes. Then Robbie goes for the rule breaker again, and it connects this time and gets the cover for the pin victory over Alex Gracia. And this was a big win for Johnny Robbie, and I'm glad to see it. We then go to a backstage segment where Johnny LaQuasta was talking to someone off screen, it appears, and he says that next week the show will open with a match between Zeta Zhang and Savannah Stone. So I'm excited for that match. Then Clearwater walks up and says that he's owed a rematch for the UWN Heavyweight Championship. And LaQuasta says that he's aware and that Clearwater doesn't have to get so aggressive. He will get his opportunity at some point down the road. Clearwater states that he's not just the golden boy for this organization. He's the golden boy of professional wrestling. He is the present and the future of this business. LaQuasta says he'll get his rematch shot when the time's right for the United Wrestling Network. And Clearwater states that he'll get his time or his title shot when he wants it on Golden Standard Time, which I thought was nice. That's
pretty good, yeah.
That's pretty good. We then go to our main event match. Go watch it. Go watch it.
You're not gonna. That's all you're gonna give us.
That's all you get. That's all you get. Go watch it.
You're not even gonna tell them who it was.
Clark Connors and Danny Limelight, and it was a banger.
The Wild Rhino.
It was a really good match. I'm not too familiar with Clark Connors, but after watching this match and his performance in the Red Carpet Rumble, and I'm doing my homework on him. He is a lot of fun.
It was good, man. My daughter freaked out. You know how much she loves. I've been telling you, she loves the UWN since we started watching it. She lost her mind.
Yep.
It was a great match.
Great match. It was my match of the week. This was my match of the week. And the Bosby Lane match was really close.
I like Austin Lane. Like he kind of looks like if this is becoming a bit of a old meme, but he looks like if you bought CM Punk off of Wish and he was a little bit older. But I like him. It's like the beat up old grizzled veteran, but he
reminds me a lot of the character that CM Punk was playing in Heels.
In Heels, okay. I haven't seen it.
The Stephen Amell, the guy that played Green Arrow,
okay,
is in it, and him and his brother are the main guys of their dad's old federation down south,
right?
And they're just trying to keep it going, and they're clashing. CM Punk comes in, Robbie the Rat or something like that, or Ronnie the Rat or something.
Okay,
but similar vibes,
right?
Well,
about Memphis, Mike says he can't watch it most of the time. He said Luke being 80 with his spots are better than most in Memphis. Totally disagree. It's a different vibe than Car Shield Wrestling, as I guess we're calling it now. But because the production's weirder. I'm saying weirder because the production's different. And
they're at a different budget scale,
right? And they are, they are
venues. Venues are hard to come by in Memphis
There's
if you're not a music act.
Right. There is a reason to that, Mr. Marquez has put his trust into this company. They've got 102, 103 shows. There's a reason for it. And they do a lot of things you go, oh, that doesn't look good or whatever. But they do a lot of things. And I swear to you, in the short time I've been watching, it gets better all the time.
Yeah.
Golden standard time is when the toilet flushes past the ass.
Oh, shit.
Why did I put that on the screen? Anyway.
Hey, Skeletor, I see your W in the chat.
Yes.
Hello, Skeletor.
Take it from Hollywood Timmy Blaylock. You must watch the UWN, especially, well, not especially Memphis, but Memphis is worth it. I like it.
Yeah.
My daughter likes it. You will like it. If you don't, then you're fat, I think. I'm terrible. Thank you, sir. I really appreciate that. Let us go now to a segment we call I Respect You, Booker Man. Look at all those bookers, and we have our own booker right here in Dave Scooby. Dave, let me ask you a question.
Okay.
What's going to happen with the NWA World Television Championship tournament, the women's TV title tournament, rather?
I'm not really sure.
Okay, thanks, Dave. Good night, everybody. Carry on. So I do that a lot. Carry on.
We are down to the semifinals, and I'm hoping sometime in the next 3 to 4 weeks that they have these matches. Taya Valkyrie versus Ashley, and then Kenzie of Pretty Empowered versus Max. Now, they're having these semifinals in the next couple weeks. The finals for the new women's TV title will be at Chicago 312.
Right.
Now, with these four ladies, or these four wrestlers in the semifinals, there's word that Taya Valkyrie is possibly going back to the WWE, according to some dirt sheets.
Okay.
I like what she's doing the Mexico thing, doing MLW, NWA, Impact. But you got to go where the money is. And if they're willing to give her a chance, a second chance, and actually do something with her, she won't be Taya Valkyrie. She'll probably come back as, I think Frankie Monet was her character in NXT. But if she's given a chance to even go a year or two, she can make some money. And who knows if they bring back Hennigan,
right?
John Morrison. So they have a chance. His being, I think, a third time, hers being a second time. So I don't look for Taya to win, but you never know. It may be one of those things that she's saying she's going to WWE to get booked more. Hey, book me before I have to go back.
Right.
Who knows? Now, Ashley, she's supposedly signed to AEW. I'm not sure what tier she's signed to. I believe it's a 2-year contract at least. But she is from the Nightmare Factory, which was Cody's wrestling. Basically, his school that he had in Atlanta.
Right.
I'm not sure what the Nightmare Factory or who's doing what, if he gave up when he went back to WWE, but I'm not sure who's going to win and go into the finals, because 2 of your 4 semifinalists are possibly not staying around in the NWA.
So who are the other 2, just for my education again?
The other 2, we have Max the Impaler and Kenzie Page. Now, I'm not sure who's going to be facing each other, because this is one of the things that the NWA has not done. They didn't put out anything regarding who's going to be in it and who's facing each other.
Right.
So all we know is that Taya, Ashley, Kenzie, and Max are the 4 semifinalists. And then whoever the winners of those matches are move on to NWA 312 for the finals. And the winner will become the new women's TV champion. Now, Max is the non-binary nightmare. Would the NWA have a them or they hold a woman's title?
Right. Yeah, I'm just
I'm not
throwing up
sure.
comments as you go.
It's one of those things. If you want to be politically correct and not make anybody feel bad or feel, I'm not really sure how you would feel if someone holding a woman's title does not identify as a woman strictly. So they've sort of worked themselves into a corner, whereas Kenzie is really the only logical person to win in the finals. But we're talking the NWA. Who knows what they're planning on doing?
It might make the basis of a good feud if they're wanting to be slightly edgy, I guess. But it doesn't even have to be edgy. It could just be, But Max doesn't identify as a woman. Why does she get to hold the title?
Yep.
Yeah.
Now it's one of these things that if Kenzie ends up winning the title, will she rub it in the face of Pretty Empowered 2 of I have a title and you don't?
Right.
Or will they do the quote unquote group mentality and do a stable where I have my titles, we're going after the titles we used to hold? I held the title, you held the title, you held the title. I'm bringing my little sister in to keep an eye over you guys, and if you need help, she's my family. She knows what to do. I'm a former champion. I've worked with her. It can build into a storyline. But being that 2 of your 4 semifinalists possibly may not be with the NWA in 2, 3, 4 months' time, who knows how long.
Right.
I'm looking at Kenzie possibly winning, because when you look at tag teams, nothing against Ella Envy. Ella Envy does the strong work. But she's not the Shawn Michaels of the Rockers. She could become the Shawn Michaels of the Rockers if her and Roxy, or her and I'm blanking on Kenzie's, is it Kylie?
Yeah, Kylie, yeah.
But Kenzie's little sister, that they could more or less almost do a Freebird style.
Yeah.
And go after the tag titles.
And Ella's great. She's not the Marty Jannetty, but you're right. She's not the Shawn Michaels right now. Yeah.
But when you look at it, her taking over bumps her up.
Right.
That Kenzie had the name, then they brought in the tag team. They did good. They're rebuilding, and if they do Pretty Empowered as a stable, I think that would be a good thing. Plus, you have, for the TV title, you have several women that are already established. And depending on how long they're with the NWA, I mean, you have Kylan King. She can float back and forth between AEW and all her other indie dates, that if they know when they're going to be having pay-per-views and tapings, she can come and go as she pleases. I'd like to see her with a belt one of these days. But if she's comfortable floating amongst 2 or 3 federations and wrestling that way, more power to her.
Yeah, she got offered she got an offered AEW contract at one point recently and kind of went, I'm going to take my chances on the indies a while, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's one of these things of when you do AEW, you're signed to them. You can still work outside of AEW under certain circumstances.
As Mike pointed out, Ashley, to my knowledge, has a contract where she can wrestle elsewhere. That'd be from AEW. So it's more than a handshake agreement. Ashley would be able to stay in the NWA unless new terms were written.
Yeah.
I mean, that'd be nice.
But I mean, you have the mixed tags. Some of the women can also be involved to build up that TV title. I mean, if you face Angelina Love, she's an established name, maybe not in the NWA, but if you know anything about Impact or TNA wrestling, you know who the Beautiful People were.
Right.
I mean, you still have Markova. She can still do the mixed tag, plus go after the TV title. I'd see her holding the TV title down the line, if not also going after Camille and trying for the Burke. CJ's back in the picture. They just need to decide with all these belts and all these storylines that they're doing, what's more important. Do they build up the women's TV title and use the women that are either a manager / valet or an actual wrestler?
Mm-hmm.
They need to pick and choose what shows that they're on. That if USA is going to be where the TV title is defended, then they move the mixed tags to Power. Or if Power is going to be the TV title for both men and women, then you move the mixed tags to USA and you use USA as a proving ground. Whereas, I mean, like Samantha Starr, when she came in, she was on USA a couple times before she got bumped up to Power.
Right.
And put on a pay-per-view. Use USA as a proving ground. You're still going to have winners and losers, but rather than using all your enhancement talent to make your bigger stars look good, build them up on USA to then go to Power to work as enhancement talent.
Right. I agree.
But I mean, you have a good, strong 3-4 women besides whoever your champion is, plus whoever loses in the semifinals, they can always come back and say, I want a rematch. That there was something wonky that went down. That if Kenzie is in the finals and there's possible outside interference from Pretty Empowered to guarantee a win, you already have a rematch.
Lots of possibilities. Let me ask you, who do you put the belt on if you're booking it out for the first women's TV title?
I put it on Kenzie just because she's established in the NWA and has a name. I would do the Pretty Empowered stable, have her sister slide in and do the Freebird rules where you never know who you're facing until the match is actually announced and you're coming out to the ring.
Right.
But in doing that as well, I'd have each of those wrestlers have Roxy, Kylie, and Ella apply for manager's license. So they can always be out there as a third party with the tag team.
Nice.
So it's just one of those things that if they're requiring you to have a manager's license, do it.
Let me ask you one.
Do it. Yeah.
Let me ask you one last question just before we get out of here, because this always gets my creative juices flowing. Do you put the Lucky 7 rule on the women's TV title?
I would say no, but they've already said that the Lucky 7 is going to be in effect.
Oh, they did. Okay.
Yes.
Did not know that. Jeremy's like, oh. I don't hate the Lucky 7 rule, but
it's a good thing if you use it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That I'd have it NWA matches and outside. That if Kenzie wins and she's in Knoxville wrestling for some other wrestling organization and she is defending the belt, granted, it's not on TV, but who says you can't videotape the beginning, the middle, and the end and make a highlight reel of 2 minutes to show that, hey, our champion's out and about defending the TV title, even though it's not NWA. We're going to show you what happened in that match. Here's our TV champion. Boom.
Right. Yeah.
So almost make it as one of these things that the 7 defense rule doesn't have to always be NWA. It just has to be an NWA sanctioned match.
Right.
Whereas you never saw all 180 matches of Goldberg, but they just said he won.
That's right. Yeah.
But if you have some highlights of it, show it, use it. Like, I mean, you guys have said it. Jay has said it. BKM has said it. The TV title should be something that bounces around. It doesn't always have to be, oh, I won 6 times and then I lost on the 7th.
Right.
Well, what happens if you lose on the 4th? It starts the story all over again.
Yeah, or you have a champion who's like, well, Tom Latimer right now is like, I'm going to win 7. I'm going to cash this bad boy in.
Yep.
Well, okay, great. But how about just like a guy who's like, I'm going to be the Arn Anderson of the Lightning One era. I'm going to be TV champ forever. Like, that'd be great.
Yeah.
I wouldn't hate that.
Hey, Dodie says, I like Lucky 7 rules, but to think we have this women's tournament for a title which will be defended for 6-minute match sometimes bother me.
Yeah.
Get rid of that rule. That's a stupid rule. I don't like the 6-minute match. It's dumb. You can't do anything.
Yeah, I don't. I'm fine with them keeping the 7 wins. That's a nice little caveat for it. Nice little bonus prize. But lose the 6:05 time limit.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Mike said, like let's talk about Max here just a second ago. Billy can do this, but it would just be putting them in the championship scene for the public eye, good or bad, just as Tyrus is with Fox with the title. Either way, it's news, right? Yeah. I think he meant from this, just like the 7'3" guy, Beast Mode debuting the NWA. NWA's hardly ever mentioned the wrestling sites. This time they were. So bring in these attractions and have these things. David, some interesting stuff, man, as always.
Yeah.
I like Kenzie for this as well, too. So I think that's great. But I got to get out of here. I don't know about you guys. They said that we couldn't do it in 90 minutes, and they were right. Please follow at the Alliance blog for alliancewrestling.com on Twitter. What about you, Jeremy? Where can they find you online?
You can find me on Twitter at HJWOTS and on YouTube at Wrestling with the MMA. Wrestling with the MMA. And I have an interview lined up that I will be conducting tomorrow. Still ain't telling y'all who that is. You'll just have to tune in and find out.
All right. Fair enough. We won't push you. How about you, Dave?
You can find me on Twitter at Dave Scooby. Also over on Instagram at Dave Scooby. I got to start posting some more wrestling stuff on Instagram. I find stupid GIFs and stuff like that.
That's the fun stuff.
Yeah. But I mean, hopefully I'll be getting some more wrestling stuff going.
Yeah. Listen, the stupid gifs and memes like Heebs and like it's Jesselmania. That's some of my favorite stuff out there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm at the Alliance Gold because I am a derivative hack and have no originality of my own on all of the socials. Thank you, Jay, for just being totally cool with that, even suggesting it yourself. So that's it for us. Tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. It's the Alliance guys, the A-Team, the OGs, and their podcast. That's J Cal, that's DKM, and that's Jaden. They're going to bring you all of the rundown from Power. They're going to talk all things NWA. I'm sure they'll talk about the World is a Vampire Festival and what has come up in Mexico and what is going to go down in Australia. And, of course, the flagship show, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. It's that hour before Power when J Cal takes the helm, stands at the front of the ship that is alliance-wrestling.com with his arms in the air and shouts to the pre-party to the heavens. I don't know what I'm talking about. King of the world! King of the world! Of course, it hits an iceberg and it sinks, so that was a terrible analogy on my part. But anyway, guys, thank you everyone in the chat. Thanks everyone watching.
Yes.
And we appreciate you being here. As always, we'll see you next week. And until then, we'll see you at the matches.
Thanks for joining the stream. This has been a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com. We genuinely appreciate your support. Would you consider subscribing so you'll never miss a future episode? I'd also like to remind you we do a live stream every Tuesday at 5 p.m. before NWA Power. You can find us on social media at The Alliance Blog. And until next time, we are The Alliance.